We're going to go ahead and get started. Hopefully, everybody can see and hear me pretty decently well. I'm going to talk about what's happening on Wall Street right now. You got Bitcoin underneath 70K. So the levels we've been waiting on, we got another 15 to $20,000 left. So we're going to be looking to the downside. If you can hear me, put some comments in the chat. Let me let everybody know we are on and live and get ready to go here. Um, we do have Amazon today, which is going to be stepping up to the plate earnings deck. You have some more news, some of the news that I posted in the chat, some that I haven't. Make sure to cover that. You got the SPY and as well the QQQ both coming down. The Qs is actually back underneath 600. So you do have the QQQ, which is underneath $600 a share right now. So we have seen some bearish action on the overall indices. Google's down, so that is kind of trailing us. So let me let everybody know. All right. And so we are live here this morning. So use this as another warning. So a few months over the past couple months, past 3 to 6 months, we've been planning for this, right? So now we're getting right into position. BTC is going to go down to that $50,000 level. The question is now, does Bitcoin actually break below 20? Excuse me, break below 50,000? Does it break underneath 50? That's the main question. So the areas that you want to buy, your buy levels. So you may have missed this yesterday, but I did post that directly here as well. So 50 to 60. A lot of people are asking me, to see, what do I think about BTC? Where do I think it's going down? The length of the pole, the flag usually tells you about how much the stock can actually come down. So if you're looking on a weekly time frame from about 115 to so that's a $30,000 pole. So roughly, we've already fallen almost half of that, essentially half of that. So if we went by the 30,000, we'd be roughly saying around like 53K could potentially be where Bitcoin ends up bottoming at. Nonetheless, for those that are just tapping in and listening here this morning, this is your opportunity that you have been waiting on. Right? When Bitcoin was at 120K, everyone kept saying, oh, Bitcoin's going to go right to 200. It's going to, go right to 200. Now we see Bitcoin's pulling back. Your dollars are actually going to stretch farther. So I cannot stress this enough. This is your time, your opportunity to get Bitcoin. Honestly, this is probably going to be the last time, and I continue to say this, that you see Bitcoin. This cycle will probably be the last time we see Bitcoin underneath 100K. The last time, just think about that. So you know what you got to do. Right? Everybody should be working to get themselves into position. I think that we are going to see, once again, more downside on BTC. But that's going to bring MicroStrategy in between $75 to $93. You also have Coinbase. Shout out to my people who've been taking these Coinbase puts. They are printing. Coinbase hit our next target of 161. So you know what you need to do, right, on Coinbase today. Hit our next target at 161. But also in the grand scheme of things, we're looking for coin to come down here to the early 100 levels, right? Like we want coin down here from a long-term investor perspective. We want to get Coinbase down there at $100. That's the price and the levels that you want to get coin. $120. Same thing as Oracle, right? So you see MicroStrategy coming down, BTC, and then of course you have Ethereum, ETH, and then which is currently at about $2,000, and then you have ETHU. $15 mark for ETHU. I know we said 15 to 22, but I would just, based upon what we see now, there's no need to buy it at 20 when for a fact we're going to get $15, maybe even a little bit lower. So I'm even thinking, 10 to 15 now on ETHU. As this thing continues to come down, ETHU, $10 to $15. So I'm going to change that up. ETHU, 10 to 15. Don't even touch it until it gets down to 10 to $15, right, for ETHU. So Ethereum is coming down to 14 to 1600. We've been speaking about that here for some time as well, too. You got some movement there to the downside, some great long-term buying opportunities, right? Really great long-term buying opportunities. I think sometimes we do get caught up, obviously in a lot of, the trading, etc. But do not miss these opportunities long-term investment-wise that are being opened up for yourself. Cannot stress it enough. You will come back years down the line. And if you don't take advantage of these opportunities, you'll be knocking yourself in the head saying, damn it, why didn't I just pull the trigger on what L was telling me to? All right, that's enough for crypto for now. Let's move on to our individual stocks. First one I want to talk about is Palantir. And after that, I want to talk about Shopify. And we're going to kick things off with the ARK ETF today. So you remember I came on, what's the level that everyone should have had a alert, right? What was the level that everyone should have? Thank you. Before I can even get the question. Thank you. 71, correct. Now, have we broken that on the ARK? Yes, we have. Let me talk about these two tickers first, and I'll get to that. So we're here at, I told you guys, Palantir. I didn't care what they did on earnings, that they were going to sell off. Now, I've gotten asked about Palantir quite frequently over the past few months, and I'm here to tell you the blood is not done. It's not stopping yet. Shopify is probably going to go down to 70 to 90 bucks. Palantir probably come down to $100. These are just the facts. So if you're looking for long-term investment opportunities on some of these ARK ETF names, I'm here to tell you there's still some distance away before some of these things really give that to you. So honestly, until $50 to $70, Palantir is not really attractive. And you might be saying, well, man, L is really beating up on Palantir bad. Why is that? Well, I don't want people get caught buying a falling knife. The time to buy Palantir was 2022 to 2024. I posted a video about this yesterday. Like a lot of times people become other people's exit liquidity because they're not buying when they should. They should be buying when the market is down. They should be buying when Shopify falls off a cliff in 2022 and is at $25, $30, $50, $60. That's the time to buy. Not when the stock's at a 52-week high and just completed a V-shaped recovery at 170, right? So you should not be looking to purchase those names, right? When we're sitting here at these peak points, right? Wait for pullbacks and understand the business and the fundamental aspect of what you actually are putting your dollars into. So Palantir, I would not touch this thing until it got below $100. If you were thinking from a long-term investor perspective, there's not really a fair price until really, I mean, even lower than 100, really $50 to $70 is going to be the range. Now, we know most tech stocks don't always give you, right, those fair ranges, but it's important to understand the difference between a risk off and a risk on type market. Right now, the market is letting you know that it is in a risk off type appetite. So people are not willing to take those same risks. They're actually willing to shed those risky businesses, Bitcoin, Coinbase, MicroStrategy, right? You have Palantir here, Shopify, right? Now let's look at the ARK, because I started this year off telling you that the ARK would not do what it did last year, and I meant it. ARK is currently at about 68 bucks. Let's also look at Robinhood. You guys know, for you guys that have been here, how many times did we tell you that Robinhood was going to go to 70 bucks? How many times we said it? How many Zooms did we have and we said Robinhood was going to go to 70, $70? But now you're getting back to these zones where once again, Robinhood is now becoming decently attractive. Not all the way yet, but it's getting down here. So as we said, Bitcoin, when Bitcoin would retrace and come down, Robinhood would come down with it. So you want to see, and we'll talk about some of this economic news. January layoffs surged to a 17-year high. So the U.S. economy is continuing to retract. We're going to talk about the U.S. dollar as well, too, what I see there. But particularly here, these growth assets, names like Robinhood, you could get another opportunity to get it at 40, 50 bucks. So now that we're here at 70, I'm here to tell you, don't even touch this thing yet. Robinhood is going to come down to probably in between 40 to 50 bucks again. But you're still going to fall another 50%. Just let that sink in. Another 50% on this asset. So just let that sink in. Right? Next thing I want to talk about is SoFi Technologies. Boom. So currently at about in the pre-market at 20, you got a 1976 is TP1. Shout out to all those people that took those SoFi puts. You know, a lot of people was asking me for more of some smaller plays. This SoFi was a bona fide breakdown underneath this bull flag, invalidated it. But now you got SoFi looking like it's getting ready to head after that to about 18 bucks. All right, so just wanted to provide an update on SoFi Technologies. You see some selling here, right? Robinhood as well, both stocks moving here sharply to the downside, getting sold aggressively. So you got Robinhood still going to fall more, currently at $77. Next stop is 66, 73, and then 66, excuse me. You should be looking on there. Or you got SoFi and as well, particularly here, Robinhood. Let's talk about the biggest ticker within the ARK ETF, and that is ticker Tesla. So Tesla is here. Uh, uh, uh. So you need to, like I said, you need to trade here to this downside, catch these names. Okay, look here. So you want to see Tesla now that we're at 398. Shout out to the people that took those Tesla puts with me this week. I did take profits on them yesterday around 405. So it's all good. Tesla will probably go up after open, maybe try to get another entry. Ideally, though, until Tesla breaks underneath 383, right, it could still stay just range bound, but that's the level I want you to put down for yourself. That 383 is going to be very pivotal. If you notice a couple months ago, we went there, we ended up bouncing. So that 383 on the downside, 383. Look for TSLA. If we slice and dice below that level, the levels that you want to get Tesla long term wise, I put them out, but it's 315 to 350, right? If you're looking for a long term investment, right, opportunity on Tesla, that's where you want to get it. So the early 300s, I would suggest if you're thinking long term on Tesla, very good, very good stock to get at those levels. We're going to cover Oracle and OKLO. Oracle, which is at 144. Your next couple levels is here at 137, right? And so you also can see here now on Oracle, once we actually get this break below 137, you're next looking down towards 126 and then 118. So just a mindset and mental check. These are the opportunities that you have been asking for. So like whenever the market comes down, I always am like, man, like, everyone kind of gets tight about it. But these are truly the opportunities that you need in order to actually build a position on a company. Unless you're going, like, you're not going to be able to be given opportunities, right, to invest in these names if they're always at all-time high, right? You are not going to be able to get any investment on these names, right, if they're always at all-time highs. So pay attention to where the business model is and ask yourself, am I comfortable to be exposed into this business? Because these companies are the same companies, right, for the most part. It determines as well, really, your price. What price are you getting it at? So when I mentioned last year that OKLO was missing a lot of things, not profitable, a lot of missing, a lot of blanks missing. And when anytime the market gets a little bit sour and goes risk off, the high risk businesses that were high flying always drop first. Stress that, especially as a new person coming in, you don't know that. And so you think that just because a name is high flying and cute, that it's a quality company when OKLO is really trash, really hot garbage. And now it's probably set to go back down to $30 or $40. So if you're buying it in the hundreds, you're paying too high of a price. So you're seeing a correction, not necessarily in the overall market yet. You are seeing a correction in a specific sector, and that's your high growth, high PE businesses. All of those names have corrected and are going to probably continue to correct. So profits being taken off the table, opening up opportunities for you to be able to invest, right, at the right prices. So pay attention to it. All right, so you got Oracle. As they come down here to these levels, I don't want to hear no questions. Oracle hits $100, $120. You already know what you need to do. Now, is this thing going to U-turn around? And I think that's what sometimes people anticipate and expect, that certain stocks are just going to always U-turn. Sometimes that can happen. Sometimes you could just hit a level. Next thing you know, you're flying out of there and you busted a U-turn. Other times you could hit that level repeatedly for a period of months, right? For a period of time. The assets that I believe are personally going to hit a level and then just fly out are going to be like Bitcoin. I personally believe Bitcoin is going to find a level here and it's going to hit it. Next thing you know, it's going to U-turn. But it's not going to be every single stock. It's not going to be every single investment that we're talking about that has those capabilities and is going to do that. So when you are looking here at Bitcoin, which is now underneath 70K. Remember, we've been preparing for this. Remember, we sat in this bear flag for a while. They were, hey, we didn't break over 95K. If we break underneath this 83, what's going to happen? The selling is going to, pressure is going to continue hard. I also made a post that said the next 48 to 72 hours, watch Bitcoin break below 70K. Here we are 48 hours in, Bitcoin's breaking below 70K. Next stop is 66, 58, and then so forth. So now an asset that was once 126, which at 126, let me tell you what the rhetoric was. Man, Bitcoin's out of reach for me now. And I don't know if I'm going to be able to get a Bitcoin. Now this asset is pulling back 50%, maybe 60, 70%. And even at, 30 to 40,000, for some people is going to be out of reach, right? To get maybe a whole coin. But you also had the capabilities to still maybe get half a coin. Really consider, can I figure out how I can put 5, 10, 15,000, right, into Bitcoin? Can I really figure out how to, maybe if Bitcoin comes to 50K, how I can leverage, right? Getting at least one Bitcoin, if not more, right? Those are the conversations I want us to be having this year. Not with all the, a lot of times I think we sometimes get distracted by some of the things that are happening politically, right? Because we're paying attention to the television screens too much when we should be paying attention more to our chart screens, seeing where these assets are dropping so we can go ahead and pick these things up at the right prices and puts us in a better economic position. So you look at Bitcoin, once again, this is going to be one of those assets that probably finds a level and just rallies up out of there. Next thing you know is, boom, right a U-turn. So it could be anywhere here. You got to be mindful that people have been salivating. You don't think that there's people with orders at 48,000, 55,000, 60,000. So as we're getting down here, this next $20,000 would not be easy. Right. So I want to stress that. Really get your bag together. These next 2 months is going to be very, 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 very critical. You guys remember last year when the market came down in February and March. And then what happened? April, the market ended up bottoming. And then you remember that 5 to 6 month run. All you hear during that, man, I wish I bought more. Why do we want to say that when we had the opportunity? The opportunity is opening up. The same tickers that you wanted 6 months ago are giving you the same opportunity that it did last year. Maybe some give you even better of an opportunity. What I don't want people to get caught up in is in month one of something bottoming, man, it's not turning around yet. What's your thoughts? Like, you can't change your thesis on a company every 2 seconds. You can't change your thesis on an investment every 2 seconds. The moment a bad day happens, what you think about this, LE? What you think of the same thing I thought a week ago, the same thing I thought 2 months ago, and the same thing I thought 6 months ago. So my thesis is not going to change every single day. It's just the reality. It's not going to happen. But a lot of you guys' theses are changing by the day. Oh man, this happened. Oh man, the news. What do you think about the news? The news is a temporary, short-term thing that causes things to actually play out. So what might be happening with the US, right, and Iran, US and Russia, US and all these other countries, all of that is short-term noise. Been in this space 10 years. Every time, oh man, the market, we're going to hit a recession. You're right. We're already in a recession, but yet the stock market is still at an all-time high. Once again, the name of the game is you play these assets. Cash is trash. When cash is sitting around for too long, not making you any money, your money is not yielding you any of a return, no rate of return. The only way to outpace inflation is to be in assets. That's the only way. You can make more money, but you're going to have to spend more. Now let's get into talking about what I want to talk about next. DXY, please pull it up. Your US dollar is in a bear flag pattern. Uh-oh. So that same pattern that I just showed you here on Bitcoin, DXY, the dollar, unless we're going to get back above 101, is in a bear flag pattern. So what does that mean? That means essentially that if we break this bear flag, the dollar is going to trickle downward and come down to the lowest level since when? May of 2021. So look here, last time, right? We ended up bottoming at about $90 here on DXY. So pay attention as we're getting closer to breaking this bear flag. If the dollar continues to flush, you are likely to see gold and silver probably continue to tick upward. Pay attention to that relationship. As the dollar continues to drop, you're likely to see gold and silver prices continue to rise. So that's something that very well, that trade can still very much translate into moving upward with gold and silver. So just my thoughts on the dollar DXY. Let's talk about your cyber names. Let's talk about, right, Microsoft, your cloud computing names. Where are these things at? And where are the investments ready to be made? So Microsoft is at 406 this morning. MSFT is getting ready to come down, likely, in my opinion, down all the way to 350, 380, that range. So Microsoft now is going to be, pulling back from a high of 555 into the 300s. Once again, great buying. I have CrowdStrike up here, 325 to 375. Please pick it up. CrowdStrike will be $1,000 company. So remember, notice my theme is not changing about my strategy and what I believe in a company long term. But for my new people and people that's here, once again, at 550, you were probably thinking, man, this thing is already halfway. You would, if I would have told you at 550 that you could get this thing at 350, you'll take it. Both stocks at $550. If I told you you could get CrowdStrike and as well Microsoft at 350, you would say, yo, where I sign up at? Where do I put my debit card or credit card at? Where do I sign up at? So that's the same thing. Once again, we got to treat the same way we go out to buy products, the same way we need to treat these assets. We understand the value, right? There's no question of the value. It's about what price did you pay for it? You make your money on a buy. And so, as we've been talking about these cloud computing stocks, cybersecurity names coming downward, they're now giving us the prices that we want. Salesforce is underneath 200 for the first time in a few years. Salesforce was just 350, with analysts hiking price targets to 400. I'm going to tell you guys when the bottom's going to be. When you have a overbearing amount of people that are super bearish. Right now, that's not yet. I'm seeing certain people say Bitcoin. I seen someone say yesterday, Bitcoin, I think it was Stifle or somebody, that Bitcoin is going to go to 38,000. Now, when they start attempting to capitulate you on different investments, we're going to use Bitcoin because this is the hot topic right now, right? In this example, but you could use this and translate this to other investments. And the investment I'm actually going to put up on the screen is actually going to be Oracle. Because Oracle at 350, you had the pump boys saying, yo, we going to 400, 400. Watch their tune change when Oracle hits this $120. They're going to tell you, man, Oracle has this high debt, the same high debt they had at 350. They're just going to start speaking about it again at $120 like it didn't exist at 350 in the first place. When Bitcoin comes down here to 50,000, they're going to start telling you, hey, is Bitcoin truly a store of value? They're going to start questioning that again. They're going to tell you that some people may say, hey, this is the proof that Bitcoin's still a scam. They're going to start talking all of this BS about the assets that they want you to sell to them so they can buy. But when Bitcoin goes to 125,000, they tell you, hey, it's going to be at 200K. When Oracle goes to 350, hey, it's going to be at 400, $500, right? So pay attention to, once again, when people are telling you these things, right? When you're listening, this is why I don't cut on CNBC, because I don't need CNBC. CNBC's goal is to sell you what they've already bought so you can become exit liquidity, or trick you out of your spot. So you sell to them and they buy what they want you to sell to them. That's the name of the game. All of those shows are BS. All of them, because they're not showing you and talking about actual real entries. They're giving you a lot of smoke screens, telling you that this economic stuff is always going to just trickle into the market, which is somewhat true, but not always, right? Because what ends up happening is whenever the economy turns sour, whenever we get a multitude of bad reports, right? Whenever we don't get the Fed to do what DT wants, the market will drop, but that opens you up an opportunity. Remember, these are still businesses that are still operating, generating earnings, revenue, cash flow, right? This is what it is. So I want you to look at it in that manner. Do not be caught off guard. Do not miss your spot. I'm just stressing. Because when ETH is back at 100, I don't want no one to ask me, yo, should I buy ETH? I think I will shut down the Zoom if someone asks me that. If Kano goes back to $40, $50 and somebody asks me, yo, L, you think I should buy it? I will shut the Zoom down because I will ask them, where the hell have you been? You got the opportunity of a lifetime. Remember, you prayed for this and now it happened. You got Coinbase, which is coming down here to the levels. It's already underneath 160. So in the moment, some of these drops happen faster than what you think. So you got to make sure your mindset is right, right? You got to make sure your mindset is right. So I just think, once again, mindset wise, in the moment, you're like, man, okay, it's a lot happening. Take a couple deep breaths, breathe for a second, in and out, breathe, breathe, breathe in and out real quick. Because the opportunities are here right now. But if you don't breathe, if you don't evaluate and sit back and say, yo, these are all the things I asked for. Let me put my dollars here, and boom. Let me not come back to it in a month and say, why didn't it move yet? If it didn't move in a month, you should be buying more, right? If it didn't move in 2, 3 months, you should be buying more because you already know how the story goes. You've seen the story a few times now. You know, the name of the game is what? Buy low, sell high. So once what you wanted at the peak points is now hitting levels that you wanted, you know the nature of the game is to buy low, sell high. Does that mean buy low in March and it's guaranteed to be up in June? No, it may still be sideways, but that's okay, right? I think sometimes we do get spoiled by some of these investments hitting those U-turns. And like I said, some may, others may not, and that's okay. But that's the nature of the beast of why you got a dollar cost average at the right spots. You don't dollar cost average at all-time highs, especially not on businesses that are very over leveraged and overvalued. Right. So just my thoughts in that regard. Let me talk to you about the kill zone, and everyone knows about this kill zone. If you don't, you're gonna find out about it today. Nvidia, where I get nervous on the NASDAQ is what I said last year. I'll say it again. Nvidia 164. If somehow we manage to break underneath $164, Nvidia is going to go to 140. You can clip that. You can put that down as a bullet. I said it. So if Nvidia breaks 164, no questions, it's going to $140. So that is the area to be nervous. Why am I nervous? Nvidia is the biggest company within the NASDAQ. So if Nvidia starts to roll over, rest of this market is going to be in some trouble. So keep your eyes here. We're still about $10 away. Likelihood, it obviously, is getting a little bit closer, but it's no guarantee that we end up breaking right through this level. All right, so pay attention in that regard. All right. Just a couple of announcements. If you missed it, I suggest you take your money from Enphase Energy, ladies and gentlemen. If you followed me on this play, please close this position out. As the market turns a bit sour, I'm going to be nervous. Even though it had a nice rally and a run, let's take our money and move out the way on Enphase. Let's be disciplined in that regard. Also, UPS, which is currently at $117. If you are in that with me, I think it's getting close for where around like 121. Let's watch for 121 to 123. I would say you could roll out now. You know, I'm not mad if you roll out. No one ever went broke taking profit. So just some updates on some of our other positions in that regard. But once again, high growth names are going to get slaughtered. You're going to see these ARK ETF names like we highlighted, your cloud computing, your cybersecurity stocks. These names are all coming here to the downside very swiftly and fast. All right. AMD had earnings and they bombed it yesterday. Well, excuse me, 2 days ago. Yesterday was the aftermath. So AMD 120 to 140, put those levels down. You like, man, that's a distance away. And you're right. But if you're buying AMD at these levels, you're overpaying for this stock. So once again, you would be overpaying purchasing AMD at this price right now. This would be an overpay. Now let's talk about the behemoth of them all, SNDK. Let's also talk about my baby MU. Listen, I know you guys have seen these things go up. Now I'm going to tell you here now. Particularly, let's talk about MU first. What I'm going to say is this is the nature of the beast, why you don't buy high. Because when these pullbacks happen, they happen sharp. Notice how MU, the same way they have $40 days to the upside, they're going to have $40 days down. So Micron Technologies, SNDK, could have another $100 drop day. Do not be surprised. Look at all of these gains since January 2nd from 250 to 750. That's not normal. Here in December, 200 to almost basically 450 bucks. Profits are going to be taken. I'm not going to say exactly what price, etc., but profits will be taken on both of these names. So I would steer clear from these names for now. Allow these things to have their profits being taken. I mean, these are behemoths. These things have been running, and it's just due, right? It's just due. So keep your eyes, like I said, on BTC. That's going to be your number one watch. You got Cono, ticker CONL, $2 to $4. Please pick this up, 2 to 4. Don't even touch it at 5, y'all, because Coinbase ain't done and Bitcoin ain't done falling yet. So $2 to $4, $2 to $4 for CONL. MicroStrategy is going $75, $93. It's going to that range. You could book it. MicroStrategy actually has earnings after hours today, so they'll probably bomb that too. So just those are just my thoughts for this morning. I'm about to go ahead and wrap this thing up. You guys are well equipped, well prepared. We posted once again in the Discord. You do have, I'll post it again, right? It's right here in the books and PDFs tab. You have all the desired levels, right? All the desired levels. So the questions about, okay, what about this? What about that? Like a lot of this stuff is right here. These levels are right here for you. No questions on Netflix. No questions on MicroStrategy. No questions. All of these desired levels are here for you right now. ETH, right? Broadcom. You got Salesforce, hims and hers, right? So you got all these desired levels that are there for you. So just my thoughts here for this morning. Like I said, when you prepare for the unexpected, you are now ready to go. So we've prepared. We are prepared. Yep, we are prepared. 120 to 140 for coin. Yep, 120 to 140. So, yep. Appreciate y'all. We'll wrap this thing